Ja Rule just went from spitting bars to spitting tears, maybe, because his baby girl Brittany Atkins just said, "I do," and Papa Rule was front and center for the big moment. Brittany's all grown up, and social media clips from the wedding show the rapper trading the recording studio for a chance to witness true love instead of his more aggressive thug lovin'. Hit the play button, folks. Ja Rule walks slowly with his daughter, careful not to step on her large train, cause Brit might go full Murder Inc. on him if he signs her bright white ensemble with a shoe print. Ja Rule shook hands with Brittany's man, who goes by Tiki on Instagram, embracing him in a hug, while probably reminding him he's not one to mess with. Later, Ja shook his tail feathers on the dance floor, living it up with his baby girl for their first dance, before he grabbed a mic. No rap battles against old rival Eminem here, though. He gave a heartfelt speech instead, though he admitted he decided to off-the-cuff the speech instead of preparing one. JR discussed his daughter's wedding with Page Six just a couple months ago, admitting he wasn't prepared to put on a full concert for her, but that didn't mean he wasn't considering a surprise or two for Brittany. Ja Rule's a baller, now a baller, and it doesn't seem like he broke down in public. But you never know what could have gone down in the privacy of his hotel room. Congrats, Brittany. Hope you and your new husband got to holla holla the night away. From the moment Brittany was born, Jeffrey Atkins, better known to the world as Ja Rule, knew that his life had changed forever. Fatherhood hit him like the first beat of a powerful track, loud, resonant, and unforgettable. In interviews throughout his career, Ja Rule often reflected on the importance of family, especially his role as a father. While the media focused on his musical rivalries and high-energy performances, there was always another side to him, one filled with deep emotional currents reserved for his children. Brittany, the oldest of his 3 kids, was always known as the one with an old soul. Even as a toddler, she'd look up at him with eyes that said she understood more than words could express. In backstage moments during tours and studio sessions, she'd often curl up next to him, her tiny hand gripping his as if to remind him of what truly mattered. Friends close to Ja Rule say that every major decision he made in his life was with his family in mind. Fame was fleeting, but family was forever. As she grew older, Brittany became more than just his daughter. She became his confidant, his emotional anchor. She was there when he faced legal battles, supported him when he was incarcerated, and helped him heal in ways the world never saw. Ja Rule would often describe Brittany as his mirror, the one who reflected his better self back to him, who called him out with love, and who reminded him of his roots. So when the day came for Brittany to walk down the aisle, it wasn't just a wedding. It was the closing of one chapter and the beginning of another, written with years of love, resilience, and memory. The ceremony was held in an opulent yet intimate venue, with white roses cascading from the ceilings and a soft gospel choir humming in the background. Brittany looked radiant, not just because of the dress, but because of the pride and love glowing from within. Ja Rule, dressed in a sleek, tailored tuxedo, appeared composed on the outside, but was clearly moved beyond words. His walk with Brittany down the aisle was more than ceremonial. It was symbolic. Every step held the weight of years gone by. Her first steps as a toddler, the school plays he never missed, the late-night talks about love, dreams, and disappointments. When Ja handed Brittany off to Tiki, there was a noticeable pause. He looked at his soon-to-be son-in-law with that unmistakable fatherly gaze, a mix of approval and warning, of joy and territorial protectiveness. They embraced, and the crowd exhaled a collective sigh of emotion. It was a moment of passing. The torch, not just of responsibility, but of love. The ceremony unfolded like a dream. Ja Rule watched from the front row, his eyes fixed on Brittany and Tiki as they exchanged vows. A tear rolled down his cheek, and though he quickly wiped it away, the emotion in his face told 1,000 stories. When the couple was pronounced, husband and wife, the applause was thunderous, but Ja remained still for a moment, his eyes closed, as if offering a silent prayer of gratitude. Later at the reception, the mood shifted from reverent to jubilant. Ja Rule joined the celebration, with all the energy his fans know and love. He danced with Brittany during the traditional father-daughter dance, holding her close as a song that meant something deeply personal to them both played in the background. They whispered back and forth. No one knows exactly what was said, but it clearly stirred laughter and tears alike. And then came the mic moment. Ja Rule stood before the crowd, cleared his throat, and said, "I didn't write a speech. I didn't need to. Everything I ever wanted to say to Britney, I've already told her in 1,000 little ways over the years. But today, I just want to say how proud I am. Not just because she's beautiful or successful or kind, but because she's brave. She loves hard, stands tall, and she chose a man who respects her worth." The speech lasted only a few minutes, but its impact was everlasting. Guests reported that there wasn't a dry eye in the room by the time he stepped down. And though Ja Rule didn't perform, his words were more powerful than any lyrics he'd ever penned. Behind the scenes, close friends and family shared touching anecdotes. Ja's wife, Aisha Atkins, smiled proudly the entire evening, recalling the times when Britney would play wedding dress-up in the living room. Britney's siblings, Jeffrey Jr. and Jordan, were equally emotional. Jeffrey Jr. gave a toast that perfectly balanced humor and heart, joking about how growing up with Ja Rule as a dad meant learning the lyrics to "Put It On Me" before learning algebra. For Ja Rule, the wedding was not just a social event. It was a spiritual milestone. After years in the limelight, facing scandals, redemption arcs, and reinventions, this moment stood apart. It was raw, it was real, and it reminded everyone present that beneath the bravado of celebrity lies a deeply human soul. After the festivities died down, Ja Rule returned to his hotel room alone for the night. There, perhaps for the first time all day, he allowed himself to fully feel the emotions that had been bubbling under the surface. Alone with his memories, he reflected on everything that led to this day. The lullabies he once hummed to her as a baby, the tears she cried after her first heartbreak, the pride he felt when she graduated college. He thought about the legacy he would leave behind, not the records sold, not the fame, but the children who knew they were loved beyond measure. Britney's wedding was the crescendo to a lifelong song he had been composing in his heart. It wasn't about being a celebrity that night. It wasn't about public perception or past controversies. It was about a father and his daughter, about love that grows, evolves, and eventually lets go with grace. In the days that followed, fans flooded social media with praise for Ja Rule's touching display of fatherhood. It sparked conversations about Black fatherhood, about breaking stereotypes, and about the beauty of vulnerability. For a man known for hard-hitting tracks and an edgy image, Ja Rule's tender side offered a refreshing and necessary narrative. And for Britney and Tiki, the story was just beginning. But it began with the kind of foundation that promises resilience, the blessing of a father who walked beside his daughter every step of the way, until she was ready to walk forward into a future of her own making. What began as a wedding became a universal story about love, legacy, and the quiet power of a father's heart.